Hear me. There we go. Full. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the We Be Free radio show, Brain Food from the Heartland. I am beyond thrilled and delighted to have returning to the show, Ina, Alexis, Alan. Welcome back. Delighted
Oh,
to come
thank
back
you.
and do the gig with me again.
Oh my God. I would like to come back and do the gig with you on a regular basis. We've done a few, but wouldn't that be great to just have a weekly check-in?
Um, Careful, because I'll take you up on that as long as I can. Seriously,
Well, we never run out of things to say.
No, we don't, because they're so you're so fascinating, so giving, and so I love you. You're wonderful, and
I love you too.
thank you. I'm truly honored to have the relationship and friendship. But I was trying to think, and see, now I've got not an excuse, but explanation for memory stuff. Was it hiding out? Is that when we first connected with your book?
I was thinking it might have been thinking it might have been Outsiders. Outsiders actually happened.
So.
Yeah, Outsiders was happening before my memoir came out. I think 2016, 17, then my memoir came out in 2018. So I'm not sure. And if it did come out, if we did speak before the book for the first time, then we've looped back many times to Outsiders.
Well, yeah, and I'm trying to think back. I'm not going to be able to recall, but I don't know how I could have connected with you from. I don't know who the PR. I don't know. But
yeah, could have been my publicist, but also HarperCollins. If you were in contact with them, they might have been the first connection too, because I had a press at HarperCollins, and then I have a PR firm for my actress.
Okay, yeah,
could have been either.
Yeah, well, I loved Outsiders. I still love Outsiders, and now seeing you, I've got to watch some Outsiders again.
Well, it's on Hulu, so you can. Hulu. The great news is fans can still revisit if they want.
You're amazing. The cast was amazing in that. It's hard to watch. I've got to say it. You get drawn in, and I couldn't wait for this next episode.
A new friend, acquaintance I had met just at the end of last year. I had told her about the show, and she binge watched it. She said she couldn't stop watching. So I was very happy to hear it's still holding up after a few years.
Oh yeah, it's just I highly recommend. Now I want to watch it, and I'm not one. I'll watch like old movies.
Yeah,
and old movies.
Yeah, Nancy Meyers movies you could watch like 1,000 times. I could.
I have a dear friend that always, because I'll say, oh, you should see this, from 1950 whatever on Turner Classic Movie. He said, have you ever seen a movie that was actually made in color, like not colorized? But he teases me because I'm always talking about old movies and not newer ones. But
yeah,
the Outsiders is just in your sure. Oh, okay, we've got to move on from, and of course your memoir. Hiding out, a memoir of drugs, deception, and double lives is so powerful and so courageous.
Thank you. Yeah, we're working on developing it. I think I might have mentioned last time we talked, but for the screen. So
that's still.
Yeah, we're still in process. Yeah, it's definitely a mountain to get things made in Hollywood, but we're still at it and hoping for that to fulfill itself.
Oh yeah, you got to keep me.
It's a big story, so I think it belongs on the screen. So there's a lot of hard ones. Yeah, that's what that seems like a funny thing maybe for me to say since I wrote it and it's my story. But what I mean to say is, having taken a step back from obviously, the experience that happened so long ago, but also even the writing of it as a memoir, happened, a number of years now. But now in revisiting it as a movie, potentially, as a TV series, I look at it so much more objectively, like how would a viewer see this? And I think, wow, this is so universal. A father-daughter story that's definitely unlike probably any other we've seen on TV or in a movie yet. But I think that's what makes it so compelling. But it's the heart of the family that's really at the core of the story. It's like, it's heartbreaking, but it's also inspiring to see how people change and the potential for change, even at an older age.
And I think I know that when you, with your courage in writing that and putting it out there, it's so helpful for, I mean, it's regardless of what individuals' experiences were or are, it's out there for, and people that have had, I don't want to say similar, but had some familial difficulties or relationship. It's powerful because they say, you know what, I can do that too. I can look at her now. Look at her now. Because so many people get caught up in that and stay stuck.
Yeah. Well, it's important to look back to heal, but at some point you do have to let it be in the rearview mirror and look forward. And I think that's, you can't skip a step.
You can't.
Looking back isn't the answer, but just looking forward and not dealing with things that are chasing you down. Whether you like it or not, that doesn't work either. So I think it's finding the balance, and it's also, for me, ultimately, it's really simple. It's just taking full ownership of your own life and your own story, and then moving forward with all that you learned, even from the biggest heartbreaks and disappointments. Are really, that's how we learn. We don't usually learn from all the wins we get in life. The wins are great, but that's not what we learn from usually. So
when you say that, what I've always said is, you deal with it. No one's going to see the air quotes it, whatever it is, or it will deal with you.
Absolutely.
And you've got to put it, and that's what you've done. And again, as an example for people, you can't just try to forget about it. You've got to deal with it and understand it and grow from it, grow from the experience.
And for me, like, having a legacy that releases shame is huge, because I grew up with so much of it, and even through my young adulthood just was sort of ruled by my shame, and it really dictated my behavior and how I felt about myself, especially. And dealing with that, and part of writing a memoir was just letting go of any remnant that was left after years of sort of healing and working on myself. But that memoir was sort of the final chapter, if you will, of just, you know what, I don't have any more shame, and I'm going to give it away so that you can see that by having no shame, really in a healthy way, you can have a great life. But you got to get rid of it. You got to do the excavation.
Yes, excavation. I like that, Tina, Alexis, Allen. I know for me, when you talk about the shame, and probably have talked about this before, my own my abuse, I remember being young and thinking, what did I do? How did I get this, this Orthodox priest? How did I lure him, or what signal did I get? And I came across a picture of myself at that age, and I'm looking at this little doofusy kid with a, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, because I was thinking of myself as an, I didn't have.
You were older than you were.
Yeah. Sure. I was thinking myself like at that time in the present, then, not a little kid. And it's like, and it was so powerful. That was so powerful for me. It's like, wait a minute, with the shame and the guilt, like you say.
Yeah. I think that's really, from all the people I've spoken with that have had similar experiences, what you just described is very common. Yeah. It's as if we take on the responsibility for the abuse, but also there's something about the image of ourselves that is convoluted, that we see ourselves as much older than we actually were, in order to make sense of it or to process it. And I think maybe, and I have no idea, I imagine somebody who's a therapist might have a better handle on this, but seems to me that if you're having to deal with such adult emotions and behaviors at an age when you're not ready, it thrusts you into the idea that you're further along than you really are.
It's interesting. Yeah. I would agree. I would agree. I'm talking with Tina Alexis Allen at TinaAlexisAllen.com. Of course, we got the links up. You're on Facebook and Instagram also. I've got to talk about the exciting premiere that's happening tomorrow at 8 Eastern on Lifetime, 12 Desperate Hours. I can't wait.
Oh, good. I can't wait too. Obviously I haven't seen it yet. And
oh, you haven't?
I have not seen it yet. I saw a little taste because I had to do a little ADR work afterwards.
ADR is
ADR. It's basically sound work, audio work.
Okay.
Where if the sound didn't capture a certain line or a certain word, you need to go in and basically do clean it up. Exactly. So but anyway, I haven't seen it.
I learned a new term, ADR.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, it's
tell us about it.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's Gina Gershon's directorial debut. The fantastic actress that she is now directing. So that's super exciting. I felt thrilled to work with her. I had never worked with her other than knowing her when we were both kind of baby actors in New York. But she did a fantastic job. It's basically a true crime story. It's based on an Anne Rule book. And it's a young man who is unfortunately very unstable and obsessed with his ex-girlfriend, who's basically trying to make him an ex and keep him away from her. And I play her mother, Francine. And he shows up looking for her, and he's not quite in for what he's going to get from me. And on the other hand, I'm not quite ready to get from him what he gives me. So that's, without spoiling, it's pretty dramatic stuff.
I really want to know. I can't tomorrow day. Go ahead. And then it'll
Samantha,
you can stream it the next day.
Of course. And Samantha Mathis is the lead, who gets sort of taken by this obsessed guy. She's an innocent victim and a woman in peril, and he basically uses her to drive him around for 12 desperate hours where he's trying to track down his girlfriend. And he causes a lot of trouble and wreaks havoc. So the interesting thing for me about the movie really is that it does deal with some bigger issues other than being, obviously a true crime and, tense and thriller-esque and such. It's also dealing with a man who has mental illness, and he is very unstable, and also how this innocent woman who he's basically taken captive, deals with him with such love and compassion that she actually helps him and helps the people in his way, not all of them, unfortunately, but really keeps him as calm as possible through her love and compassion so that he doesn't hurt more people than he does. So there's a lot of other, sort of bigger themes in it, and obviously issues of guns and all of that, and getting into the hands of somebody who shouldn't have one. That's kind of a big ticket. And I know that drew Gina particularly. I've heard her speak of that to the project, that was something she really feels passionate about. But it's a really cool script. I was so drawn to Francine because she just takes no BS.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about Francine.
Oh my God. Well, I'll tease that when you meet her, she's in her little bubble at home. She loves watching her shows. She is a West Virginia woman who lives alone and, very rural West Virginia, and is really obsessed with her game shows and her soap operas, and sort of lives vicariously through the television. But she also takes no crap, and she's not a fan of this young man. His name is Denny, the lead. And when he shows up on her doorstep, oh boy, she is not happy. and it's a wild ride. And I don't want to spoil where it ends, but it's memorable.
Yeah, certainly don't want to do a spoiler, but I've got to ask you, getting in character, I just can't fathom what that must be like, being
fun.
That's not, yeah. How do you?
Really fun.
I know it's very simplistic. How do you do that?
Yeah. Well, sometimes, it happens in different ways. I mean, first for me, I usually take the internal route just because that's kind of my nature. So I want to find out, what drives this woman, and, what her sensibility is about the world, and just then into the basics of how she lives and how she dresses. And I had requested, because of who she was, which was quite different than me and how I live my life, I had suggested to costume, when they asked me, what I was thinking. I said, I think it's curlers. I think it's a head of, maybe halfway finished curlers that he walks in on. I have no shame, as I started the conversation with. So, yeah, no makeup, just curlers and, a bathrobe and some dirty slippers. So that helps. That helps a lot.
You don't have to.
Some cigarettes and a little bottle of something next to me that maybe I nip at during the day. Kind of starts to make you feel like, oh, and then all the things around you helps. The production design is so helpful, to create my home with a very worn, Lazy Susan recliner kind of thing. And, just the vibe of, immersed in television, and also the internal life of the loneliness of this woman, and where her rage comes from, because she definitely has clearly not just rage towards this young man who's obsessed with her daughter, who she thinks is really no good for her, but obviously that rage is inside of her, and what is it that makes her, tick? So all of that exploration is it's just juicy.
Tina, if you don't mind if I ask you that, if you can say, do we find out where that rage comes from in the film, or
I
alluded to, or
I think really? I think there might be a little bit. I think her circumstances in life speak volumes. So I think that when you look at the picture of it, you can see where the frustration comes from. But what I think is there's no filter. And that was something that I found very intriguing about her, is that she didn't have a filter either way. Her joy and her anger, neither one was filtered, because as low as you go is as high as you can go, and as angry as you can go is as much fun as you can have. And that's what was really exciting about this, this supporting character. But she's a pistol.
I can't wait to see it tomorrow, 8 on Lifetime, and then it'll be available for streaming, my understanding, the next day.
Yes, I believe so. And all of the Lifetime, the whole production was amazing. They really supported it. It was a fast shoot. I think the whole thing was done in about maybe 13 days. I mean, it was lightning speed. So hats off to the cast and crew, and especially to Gina for getting that done. It's not easy to make a movie in 30 days, never mind 12 or 13.
Wow, that's like really quick.
It's really fast. Yeah. So
okay, that which begs the question in my bizarre brain. When you did an episode of Outsiders, how long?
That's a great question.
I've got to believe, yeah.
Well, we had 10 days per episode. So if you think about that, it's almost the same amount of time. So to shoot a movie that with the same, which is really double the time as a 50-minute, because we had commercials. So with Outsiders. So yeah, That's film time is like double, and she did it in the same amount of time. So
wow,
let's just say we didn't have a lot of takes. We had to be ready. You know, there's no time to flub your lines.
Yeah. But I'm getting, when you're in character, I mean, you can flip it off and be out of character. You've worked hard to be that character. How does that work?
You know, I like, you know, once I'm on set, I try to stay in character as much as I can. Of course, you know, I'm a human being, so I take a moment at a break to talk, or somebody has a question, or just, you know, maybe a quick exchange. I don't like to get into big conversations because, you know how quickly one gets distracted. If it starts to be me for 15 minutes, you know, Francine's gone. At least, you know, yes, I can find my way back, but that time it takes, and then they say, okay, we're ready with the next setup. Yeah, so I don't like to chit chat too much on set. I like to, once I'm there and I'm in character, I try to stay pretty, even at lunch break, you know, again, it's being a human being, but not, you know, kind of keeping that character close.
And then when you're done, you just snap.
Yeah, when I'm done, I just want to eat. because I don't actually like to eat too much when I'm working. I mean, I of course need the fuel, but the idea of getting too heavy with a big, you know, meatloaf and potatoes at the catering at the catering table, just then I'll just want to go to sleep or get in a trailer and curl up under a blanket. So usually when I'm done for the day, I'm ready to have a nice big plate of food.
Yeah, I'll bet it's got to be, you know, it's challenging to do that, to get character and doing, and you've got to memorize a lot. I can't even imagine.
Well, I'll share something for the listeners, and of course for you, that was kind of fun. And now that they'll watch it, they'll be able to see. But because Francine is in the house and everything is shot there, once this guy shows up, what we did is, even though in the movie you'll see that the scenes are broken up because they go other places, they'll cut to what's happening with the police trying to track him down, and his family trying to figure out where he is, so the story will cut away from Francine. But because we were really at her house for this length of time, Gina decided to just shoot the whole thing as one scene. So there was like 4 scenes that you'll see separate, but they just called action and we didn't stop. So we, like, for example, I walk off camera to go into the kitchen and make some tea. Well, that'll cut away and the audience will go visit something else, and then we'll cut back. But in real time, when we were shooting, we didn't stop. So I just walked off camera, gave it a few beats, came right back in, and we just kept going like it was a play. So that was really cool, but also really demanded, because it was pages and pages and pages. We really knew, obviously, what we were saying, but also knew what we were doing, so that we just kept going. But it also was lovely because that is really what happens in life. You go into another room and you come back and you keep going. You don't stop and go to lunch and then come back and enter the
back to life. Unfortunately,
so there was
take a break from this life for a little bit. Let me take a break.
Exactly. So that was cool. So when your audience watches, they'll have a little behind the scenes taste of what we were really doing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because like you say, you've got to know not just the lines. You've got to know what you're doing, and picking something up, walking to it in a wow.
Exactly. Wow. Yep. When did I pick up the drink? When did I pick up the peanuts? When did I put my chair back, lean back in my recliner? When did I lean forward? Move the handle.
Tina, Alexis, Allen, when you watch, like, again, you're going to see it when we see it tomorrow night at 8 Eastern. when you've watched like Outsiders, if you watched Outsiders, what is it like for you when you watch it? Do you get what is it like? You're seeing it. What do you think? Let me leave it open. I keep wanting to put something.
Sure. Well, the first time I'm very critical, I have to admit. It's tough for me to watch the first time. It's hard. It's hard to not, I mean, it's just hard in life, just to love yourself, period, right? Unconditionally. So there's no difference, it's like me watching my work. It's like, oh, I could have done that. Oh, that thing or whatever. It's just my inner critic comes out. That said, after I get through the first time, if I ever watch it again or whatever, especially because usually it's we're making clips out of it with my agent manager, or making clips, and they'll send it to me to look at it and approve it. So then I have to kind of rewatch things, for that reason, for that purpose, and then in some ways it gets a little easier. Maybe it's like my inner critic is like, okay, yeah, been there, done that. Yeah, we don't have to focus on on your hair was sticking up to the right, or you look like you checked out for a second, or whatever the inner critic wants to beat myself up for. It sort of settles down, and it's like, oh, that really worked, or that was fun. And then I remember all the behind the scenes and just the joy of it. But the first time is a little bumpy.
Again, certainly this is not a comparison by any stretch of the imagination, but I remember being at a radio station, Strong up on Lake Erie, right side of Cleveland, Cleveland area, actually Cleveland through Erie. I'm sorry, I'm going on and on about it. But what they would do, and it was where I was at was a ways from home. And after what they would do is they would excerpt the show for play on the weekends or whatever. And other, they do. I can't remember how long they would do it. How long of a segment, and I would be initially in the edit room with them. And I would say, oh God, listen to what kind of question? Listen to me asking that question. Oh, yeah. I should have said this. And finally they said, please go home. And we'll take care
Get out of the editing room.
I'm taking a breath. Oh, you can hear, I was so like, I focused on everything, all what I was my negatives. I should have asked this. I should have said that. Why did I ask it like that? And it was just, so it was very, listen to him again because
but it's a good opportunity to practice self-love and letting go and all of that. And I think as I've gotten a little older, it is a bit easier. It's not
self-love.
Like the hammer isn't coming down quite as hard as it used to. Just like a lot, and the thing is, the celebration that I get to do it, that's really what matters. Like the fact that I got to go play with Gina and with Samantha and Harrison, who plays the male lead. And, that's the fun, that's the joy. And, picking ourselves apart is,
it's not good. Yeah.
What good does that do? So thankfully it's definitely gotten better, but
there's no benefit to that. And you're right. I trying to learn more. I was actually told more about self-love.
Yeah. Well, gratitude
is an appointment for me recently. I was actually told you need to practice more self. You need to be easier. It's and I understand the words. It's difficult putting it to practice.
Right. Yeah. I think it's hard for a lot of people. There's a lot of pressure out there, especially in our culture today, to live up to a certain standard of how you look, of your lifestyle, of, what you have, how your kids are, a success or not, or, when I say not, I mean, that's sort of the pressure is like, oh, this looks this way, but, I look this way. And it's like, no, that's just a picture. That's just an ad. That's just a social media post. And maybe it means that, or maybe it doesn't. But yeah, I think, gratitude is really, that's the thing to sort of settle into. If you're going to obsess about something, this is my philosophy. If you're going to obsess about something, just obsess about what you're grateful for. That's
an attitude of gratitude.
That's a worthy obsession. Yeah. And you'll love this, because this morning I was sharing with a friend. We share, and this is something I think the world should do, should be required. Find a gratitude partner. Share 3 things via text or email every morning that you're grateful for with that person. I exchanged those 3 things with a few different people in my life. But I was sharing this morning with somebody who was up early, and I shared that I was really excited that I was going to do a Zoom interview today with somebody that I really, really like, and that is you. That's what the focus is. I try to make in the morning, and just speaking of self-love and where to put our focus, beating ourselves up for anything is just a waste of time.
Waste of time. Yeah.
But celebrating the good is definitely worth everything.
I'm hearing you. I want you to know I'm hearing you very
yeah.
But I've got to absorb it. I know I can hear it. Well, take it in. I'm talking with Tina Alexis Allen, the wondrous Tina Alexis Allen. Again, 12 Desperate Hours premieres on Lifetime tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then it will be available for streaming the next day. Don't forget Outsiders on Hulu. You'll watch one, and you'll have to. Well, you can binge watch, or will just draw you in, and it's an incredible story. When you're saying that, though, about, looks for me has never been, I've never tried to compare. It's like, especially now in my 70th year, I'm not,
I think you're looking great, and I would never guess that age, not that it matters, but you are full of life, love, and all of that light radiates out of you.
I remember when I turned 60, someone called in and said, "Hey, Louis, 60 is the new 40." And I don't like to react. I like to be thoughtful when someone says something, even though I might cringe a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I said, okay. I said, I've got my car in the parking lot. It's got 130,000 miles on it. I said, I could have put a new odometer in that said I only have 50,000, but there's 130,000 miles of wear and tear on that car. So 60 could have been the new 40. I don't know what 70 means, but there's still
50
wear and tear. Thank you for that. I'm very excited about watching the premiere of 12 Desperate Hours tomorrow with Alexis Allen. And of course, folks, streaming on Hulu is The Outsiders, your book, Hiding Out, available, and they can go to TinaAlexisAllen.com.
Yes, and Audible. It's also an audiobook, and they can go to Amazon and purchase it, paperback, hardcover, audio.
The real quick question, the audio.
Yes.
Who did you do the?
Yes, I recorded it myself. Okay. So that was lovely.
That's
the wonderful experience, actually. Yeah.
I'd like to hear the audio. I'd like to hear you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's going to be great. Yeah,
thank you. You might even be able to get it from your local library. So
our library, libraryvisit.org. You can download. You can get it at the library. You can also download with their app. You can access. But Tina, I'm just grateful over the years to have the relationship with you and the friendship. And you're very
me
dear.
too, Louis. You're so special and dear to me. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Lifetime and Tanya Lopez, who runs Lifetime, and just the incredible opportunity that she gives women. And it's just a beautiful community. And I just wanted to acknowledge that as well.
I'm going to be reaching out to you to do something on a more regular basis. So.
All right. I'm there.
Thank you so much.
I'm there. Yeah, thank you so much. Great to see you.
Great to see you also and speak with you. And folks, again, the wondrous Tina, Alexis, Alan.